cram for an exam? Almost every single one I took, yeah. Were you ever surprised when you did well on the exam that you crammed for? On the rare occasion I did well, yeah, I was surprised. The Red Wings just did that in an NHL game against the Leafs. Thanks, man. That's great. This video is how a lot of people are starting their week. That's great. Let's go. Good. We all feel good. Stop. Never gets rusty.
What am I doing?
Into my kitchen. Producer Drew, can you fix all this? And when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you can crumple, yeet. Saw that going differently. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Well, you knew it. You all knew it. All day long you were following the news and you knew it. Leafs lose 4-2 to the Detroit Red Wings in an absolutely inexcusable way. Hey, it's an upgrade, or maybe it's just a trade. Yesterday, the Leafs lost to the Avalanche and they blew a 3-0 lead. And I said in the video yesterday, you know what? There's nothing redeemable about this game. There is no good news. In this one, there was good news. There was some good news, but they found a way to somehow make this loss more humiliating than the game where they blew a 3-0 lead against a good team. The Red Wings are mid, man! They're middle of the pack and right on your tail, might I add. They treated this like a playoff game because every game in the National Hockey League is a playoff game, and I wish someone would grab these guys by the collar and tell them what they've been told 1,000 times. And do we really expect them to get it through their heads, or is this just part of their DNA at this point? The Leafs played yesterday on nuts. Detroit also played yesterday. They played the LA Kings. They beat the LA Kings, one of the best road teams in the league, the LA Kings. Then the Red Wings got on a plane. Then that plane went back, emergency landed. They got off the plane. All day long, they're waiting for the plane. Hey, there's lots of snow in the sky. How are we going to get to this game in Toronto? Then they pushed back the game in Toronto. For a while, it looked like this game might not happen in Toronto. The Red Wings show up for the game 90 minutes before game time. The Leafs equipment staff helped them, aided them in their victory against them. And then, after all of that, the Red Wings went out there and spanked the Leafs right on their little bottoms and sent them home. Oh, wait, they were home. They were the home team. They were the home team. They didn't have to put up with what the Red Wings did all day. I am seeing so much copium on the internet. People talking about, hey, the Red Wings showed up 90 minutes before the game. It doesn't take that long to put on equipment. Jack Eichel might actually faint and barf if that were to happen to him. Have you ever read about his game day routine? Have you seen what some of these guys do? Have you ever had a quality sleep at an airport? Have you ever had a quality meal at an airport? You ever been sleeping on a chair at an airport thinking, I'm having a great sleep right now. I am rested and comfortable. Thank goodness this isn't my own bed in my own house. And the thing we were dreading all day, Samsonov is in net for the Leafs. Sammy this and Sammy that. Did he have the best game? No, but he did what any good goalie, any National Hockey League goalie does for their National Hockey League team. He gave them a chance to win. Do you love all three of the goals that he allowed? Perhaps not, but he robbed the Red Wings a few times, which he just was not doing previously. He gave the Leafs a chance to win. In fact, he made a huge save, his biggest save of the season maybe. They were chanting his name, Sammy, 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 and the Leafs immediately surrendered a goal with less than 2 minutes to go in regulation because the fourth line was on the ice, except, no it wasn't. The fourth line was not on the ice. Sheldon Keefe didn't put the fourth line on the ice, guys. What are you talking about? He put the fourth Franken line on the ice. All four lines were Franken lines this game, and he sends out the Gregor Camp Nyes. What is that? What is that line? Oh, Nyes could have done better. What is that? You did these demotions presumably to make a point. Sheldon, that's not the shutdown line. What's the David Kampf is your shutdown center, fine. Noah Gregor has the worst underlying numbers on this team outside of Ryan Reeves, who isn't playing, so you can't blame it on him. And Matthew Nyes Since when? Since when? Since when is he ever on the ice in this situation? With them especially. What are you doing? Everyone on this team was held accountable, by the way. Giordano out of the lineup. Tavares got a little demotion. All the core four guys were moved around. Nyes got put on the fourth Franken line. Brody's still in the lineup. After what happened last night, figure that one out. I had people saying, Steve, the Leafs were 4-1-1 heading into this game. They don't need to wake up. Stop letting this team rob you. Stop letting this team take your lunch money. Stop letting this team make buffoons out of all of us. 4-1-1? Who? Who? That's a very legitimate question, who? The Sharks? Pfft. The Sharks again? Pfft. And the Ducks? That should be 6 points out of 6 every single time. And yes, this year, those points haven't always come easily to the Leafs. They might be the only team in the NHL to lose 100% of their games to the Chicago Blackhawks this season. That's unbelievable. At least one of them was in overtime. They struggle against the Sabres. They struggle against the Sens, both of whom suck. They have struggled against lots of the lesser teams of this. Oh, the Blue Jackets. That was the one I was clinging on to. The team that beat them in a round that had not previously existed ever in the history of the NHL. The Leafs found a way to lose that one too, as one of the only 2 teams on home ice. The Leafs lost to the Islanders in Long Island, a team that beat them previously. The Leafs blew a lead. In doing so, lost. The Leafs had a 3-0 lead on the Colorado Avalanche, a team that they obviously hold way up here. Guess what? Blew the lead, lost at home this time. Next night, you play an also tired team who had to travel, and it was a nightmare travel day. They have way less preparation than you, and you lose, even with your goalie, who, all your body language, and oh, it's so hard to play in front of him, and even when he gave you a chance to win, you still blew that. Oh yeah, he was allowing goals before. It must have been real hard to play in front of him. Sorry, teachers and everyone, like first responders and anyone who's got to work outside tomorrow. But my life playing in front of a $3.5 million goalie is hard. Coach got stuffed into a locker both games this weekend. And what did you prove? Other than you don't really have a grasp on what's going on with this team and you're losing them. That's all that was established. Usually when these things happen, when you're like, I'm going to make big changes and do this and do that, you don't blow it. You make a point by making the team better. You didn't. You look like a genius for 1 second when Pontus Holmberg, who you put on the first line, you put him on the first line, he got a goal because a shot glanced off of his leg. I mean, good for him and everything, but, blind squirrel finds nut and all that. The squirrel in this case being Sheldon, not Pontus. Love Pontus. You relegated your team captain to essentially power play specialist, and you made a coaching decision in the final 2 minutes of this game that wouldn't make sense in any game, and it made even less sense in this game that cost you the game. Great job. Great job. You really proved a point, letting a team that's right behind you close the gap by 2 points. What are we doing here? And now you're going to take on the Edmonton Oilers, who haven't lost for double-digit games, 10 straight wins. You're going to play them on Tuesday. Hope your flight's not delayed. Uh-oh, you might win a game. And then Thursday, you're playing another late game. And then you get, another back-to-back. Oh, next weekend they have another back-to-back. Oh, they got to play Hockey Night in Canada, and then the next day they got Seattle. Oh, that's hard. It's hard. Being a Leaf is so hard. You know what? Everybody's catching strays in this one. Hey, Willie, you got that big star money, buddy. Here's the big star treatment. Take a look at this, would ya? Isn't that great? That's great. That's really great. 2 goals against the Sharks, and we're all like, sign this man. And then they sign this man. The next game, after the contract is signed, 3 assists, again, against the San Jose Sharks. Way to go, Willie. 3 games since, against teams that are going to be in the playoffs or contending for them. Fart. Nothing. About 20 minutes in each game of pure cardio and a combined -1. Boo! Gross! Get out of here. Well, Steve, he's top 10 in NHL scoring. He's top 10. That's what the money is for! You make super duper star money. You're the second highest paid winger on planet Earth. No, 3 games without a point is not acceptable anymore. It happens. You're human. It happens. But when Connor McDavid sucks, the Oilers also suck. He's their star. He makes the lion's share of the money. When he stinks, the team stinks. When Matthews stinks, who also had a meh game, when he stinks, the Leafs stink. Marner can't afford to have bad games, although, I mean, he had the goal in this one. Just 600 points. That'd be nice to talk about that. That'd be nice. That'd be great. That'd be great. And then we got an $11 million power play specialist. Sheldon Keefe talking about, the Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar and Devon Taves. Those guys are in another league. Those guys are in another league. How about you go to another market if you're going to tell us that? But you know what? Sheldon's right. They are in another league. I've seen them play. They're in another league. Here's the bad news. Next year, the Leafs are going to have 1 player who makes more than Nathan McKinnon. They're going to have 4 players who make more than Cale Makar. And they're going to have 5 players who make more than Devon Taves, assuming they don't sign anyone in the offseason. But I'm not sure we're going to have to worry about that, because they don't have any cap space. Unless Brad Treliving finds a right-handed shot defenseman on the last legs of his career, then they might give it a whirl. I don't care where they are in the standings, dude. I really don't. I don't care where they're at in their last 10 or 6 or whatever it is. You have 2 more losses than wins. You guys have been overtime merchants, which is crazy on account of you haven't been good in overtime, like in the slightest. Since signing the big deal that William Nylander deserved at the time, he has turned into every worst stereotype of every athlete who signs a contract and shuts it off immediately. The coach appears to be at his wit's end and has lost his mind. And now they're on one of the hardest road trips there is. They got Edmonton, who basically doesn't lose anymore. You get Calgary, you better win that one, because then you get Vancouver and Seattle, who is rising up the standings and beat Colorado in a playoff series last year. That one's for producer Drew. That one's for, I'm sorry, it's small victories, man. The Leafs were the home team. The Red Wings were the road team. Both teams equally disadvantaged having played last night. The Red Wings had the nightmare airport time all day, all night and all day, and they lost Patrick Kane in the first period. There is no situation where a team worth watching loses that game. Questions. Here, this isn't a question, it was just a meme that I was sent. It's the Spider-Man pointing meme, and it's the Dallas Cowboys pointing at the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Leafs pointing back. You know why I hate this meme? I hate this meme a lot. Because people are comparing them, because the Dallas Cowboys are a team that everyone talks about a lot, and the Leafs are a team that everyone talks about a lot, and they both tend to choke in playoff situations. You know why I hate this comparison? I have watched the Dallas Cowboys compete in a championship game in my lifetime. I'm pretty sure they even won at least one of them. The Leafs? The Leafs? This channel might not exist if I had at least seen them do that once. Are you excited to play the hot Oilers? Not as excited as the dude who sells hats in Edmonton, because he's going to be getting a lot of business when Zach Hyman scores and then he replenishes the stock. Everyone comes and buys another one and then they throw it on the ice for Connor Brown. Let me look this up. Has CeCe scored yet? Has Cody CeCe scored yet? He's gonna. How did it feel to get copped? You know what? Not that bad. It didn't feel bad that it was Andrew Copp. It felt good that it wasn't Justin Hall. It felt bad that it was any Red Wing, but I was happy that it wasn't Justin Hall. How dare they? I don't know. I don't know, but they find a way. And from producer Drew, how hype is the Kerfoot tribute video gonna be? He's making fun of them because they played a Justin Hall tribute video. And I mean, they play a tribute video for everybody. Except for Kyle Dewis, apparently they don't really do that. Man, this team shows flashes of the stuff that they need to get it done, and they keep bringing it back with games like this. I don't trust this group, but the team is so wholeheartedly married to this group forever and ever, amen. There's not going to be a trade of significance that changes this. At most, they can get rid of a first and like Nick Robertson and see what it gets you. Robertson, who looked like one of the only guys like consistently playing responsible defense, even if he does get murdered once or twice a game. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. We're at the halfway mark of the season. I'm watching this team for what it is, and I'm appreciating these games for what they are. But with the playoffs in the back of our minds now, because of where we're at in the season, this team is not it at all. The depth, the coaching decisions, the stars, not a thing about them gives me optimism. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Subscribe to SDPN because we're going to be talking about this more somehow tomorrow. I actually just thought of other things that I wanted to say. How long is this video? I actually thought of other stuff.